Let me get my headphones on. Good morning, guys. We are live here in the studio. Finally, if you were watching me on Periscope or Twitter, it's a mess. I mean, we're talking a lot of minutes, me trying to get this stuff together. But I have Mike Cocchiola.
Correct.
Oh, it's a miracle. It is an absolute miracle. I'm always messing up people's names, so we have him on today, and he's gonna be talking about this Democratic Party. I must admit, I don't know anything about the Democratic Party, Mike. You're gonna have to educate me.
Well, I'm going to describe all that.
You are? Okay, good, because I don't have a clue.
Okay.
Okay, good. So we're gonna go in, and then I will. You need a pen? You got everything written down? Contact information? You gonna remember all of that?
I'm going to remember all that.
You are good. Okay. Well, here we go.
Okay, well, let me describe the Democratic...
I'll introduce you,
okay.
and then we'll go. Okay. Good morning, and happy Sunday morning to all of our listeners. Today in the studio, I have Mike Cocchiola. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh my goodness, I got it right. And I'm always messing up people's names. Thank you for being in the studio. You are the chairman of the Democratic Executive Committee here in Flagler County.
Right.
Now, how did you get in this position?
Well, I was previously president of the Palm Coast Democratic Club. Mm-hmm. And then our previous chairperson had to step down because of work requirements. So I felt it was my duty to step up and help to carry the Democratic Party through the next election.
So how long have you been a Democrat?
Well, I've been a lifelong Democrat, although I will say I spent most of my career as an executive with the Department of Defense. And because of politics, some years I had to act like a Republican, and some years I had to act like a Democrat, depending on which administration was in power at the time. So it was interesting.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
It is.
I don't know a whole lot about the Democratic Party. How long have you been in Flagler County? Let's talk about that.
Well, I've been in Flagler County 15 years. Of course, the Democratic Party's been around a long time, but we've had our ups and downs. We used to be the majority party up until 2010 in Flagler County.
What happened?
Well, after that, we started getting an influx of people from the north, New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and it seemed that most of them came down and registered Republicans. So now we have over 26,000 Democrats in Flagler County, but we are outnumbered by Republicans. The only thing that we have in our favor is we speak the truth.
Uh-oh. I'm going to try not to go there. A couple of things that most people don't talk about, especially around the dinner table with family: religion and politics.
Correct, and we don't either.
Well, you don't either? Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about politics, and so far this summer I've been talking a lot about religion. I'm doing a Summer Sun series where people are come professing their faith in Jesus Christ. But today, let's talk the Democratic Party. Now, the Democratic debate. You got so many people running for office. For president, I should say. What's going on?
Well, I like to think of it as, I think it's great because America is going to hear a lot of different ideas. They're going to hear a lot of different concepts, a lot of different plans, and they will know when the debates are finished. They will know where the Democratic Party stands and where the upcoming leader of the Democratic Party, whoever our candidate is, where that person stands. So I think this is wonderful. It is a demonstration of true democracy.
Let's talk local. Next year in 2020,
correct,
we have several seats that's coming available.
Oh, there's about 18 seats open.
18 seats. You know a whole lot more than I know. And most of them are occupied, if not all of them, by the Republicans here in the county.
Yes, that is true. If you're talking, for example, Palm Coast City Council, and everything from Flagler Beach Council, the Bonnell Commission, and on, certainly the Flagler County Commission, the sheriff. Most of those seats are held by Republicans. So
we have school board. Right,
but we have a Democrat on the school board. We have a Democrat on the Palm Coast City Council.
Who's the Democrat on the school board?
My goodness, I have a little bit of a brain freeze there.
Me too.
I'll come back to that.
Okay.
But on the city council, Jack Howell ran as a Democrat, but you know,
yes, he did.
He did. But when you look at the Palm Coast City Council, two of the council members were Democrats who ran as Republicans, including Mayor Holland and Eddie Branquinho. And even Nick Klufis was an independent and a Democrat before he became a Republican. So, you know, we think about it as this way. Yes, they ran as Republicans. They are Republicans, a majority on the city council of Palm Coast. But
you're saying that they're Democrat.
I think what they are is moderate.
Okay.
And that's good. That's good because some days they may do, you know, the things that favor what we favor, and some days they don't. But at least we know that they're mostly moderate, and that's great.
So what are your hopes, and what are you doing? How long have you led the executive committee? I should ask you. How long?
Well, I've led the executive committee for about 2 months now, and
so this is a fairly new position.
It's fairly new for me, but I've been involved in Flagler County politics as president of the Democratic Club, so I have my ideas and we have our ideas on what we're aiming for this election. At the local election, we want to get as many Democrats as we can elected to office. We're going to focus on good candidates with a good message going forth to the Flagler County citizens. Mm-hmm. And we're going to trust that good candidates with a good message, with good ideas, people will not care whether the Republicans or Democrats or independents, they will go for the candidate. So that's our strategy. Good candidates.
Good candidates.
Good ideas.
And good ideas.
We think right now, for example, what we stand for firmly in Flagler County
is... hold on. Okay, what you stand for?
Good governance. And by that I mean the good use of our tax dollars. Mm-hmm. Flagler County, for the most part, is not a wealthy county. It is toward the middle and lower, particularly, for example, in the big city of Palm Coast. We're not a wealthy community. So every tax dollar is precious. And we want our councils and commission and the Flagler County Commission to spend our tax dollars wisely. Sometimes, in fact, too often, we think they're not doing that. And mm-hmm. so we're going to make those issues in the upcoming elections.
Okay.
As we go for that. We will go, for example, the sheriff's office is open for the...
Let's talk about the Sheriff's Operations Center just for a moment.
Right.
What say you? I mean, that was a huge thing back in the election last year. It's still a huge thing now. And we have, some upcoming elections in terms of our commissioners next year and our sheriff. But what do you think about, or how do you feel, or the Democratic Party feel about the Sheriff Operations Center being moved or to Palm Coast? Well, that's been an issue.
I know. And I know they have couched it carefully in words of saying the operation is not being moved. It is a district office. Mm-hmm. So as not to upset Bunnell too much. Now, we all know what they did. They're moving their real operations to Palm Coast. And so Palm Coast, in that guise, will serve as the de facto, if not the official, county seat. So, I mean, that's that. But, I mean, that was the decision made by the Sheriff's Department. That was a decision that was supported by the County Commission. So here we are.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay.
Oh, good. I want to.
I had a guest
on the county on the school board.
Is it Janet McDonald? She's independent,
she's
isn't she?
No. She's hard-right Republican.
She's hard-right Republican.
Keep going through.
Andy Dance?
No, the woman.
Barbosa?
Barbosa? No, she's Republican.
No.
Colleen
Conklin.
Right,
I'm sorry. Colleen Conklin. Yeah, she's a Democrat.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I should have remembered that name, but in the...
No, that's okay.
It doesn't come up in my lexicon in the normal
that's okay. When we I didn't realize that. I was like, interesting. How much time I have and how much...
We have about 15.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought we was getting somewhere. Okay, so we'll come back. We'll talk about Colleen and then...
Well, yeah, ask me again about the school board.
We can. Do you want me to edit that?
Yeah. KLIN.
Is that too much?
That was just a brain freeze.
Okay, we'll just clear it up in the next one. Because I have them all the time. Okay. All right. Hold on one second. Laura! Z-Lady. I'll be about 20 minutes. About 20 minutes? Okay. Okay. She was calling me. That was the phone call I got. Okay. School board.
Right. We also have a Democratic member on the Mosquito Control Board, Jules
Mosquito.
Kwiatkowski.
Mosquito control. Control. Who ran for the seat that didn't win? What was his name?
On the commission?
City commission, Palm Coast.
The Palm Coast City Commission. That would be John Tipton.
That's it. I want to talk about him.
I want to talk about him too because
I should remember
he's
that.
one of my favorite people.
That's why I have to write this stuff down.
Right. And that's what I mean, you know.
I have to write
we'll
it
talk
down.
about that.
We'll get it. Okay. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. I have Mike Cocchiola. Did I pronounce that correct?
You did.
I'm getting good here in the studio. And if you're watching this by Facebook, I want to give a shout out to Gary Perkins. He said, Young Dems. So he said, go Mike. You got some fans, I see, here in Palm Coast. But before the break, we were talking about the Democratic school board member.
Yeah, that's Colleen Conklin.
I didn't realize she was a Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
she's been on the school board for a minute.
She's been actually a couple of terms on the school board.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know. The state had legislation or proposed legislation to limit
right. So far as I know, I don't think it's been pushed through as of yet.
I don't know that.
Right.
So, but anyway, here we are.
Okay.
And I also want to mention Jules Kwiatkowski is on the Mosquito Control Board. He's a Democrat. So, yes, our Democratic representation on the commissions and school boards is thin. But we're working on that, and that's why this election is going to be very important for us.
Well, how important is it to have Democratic representation?
Well, because of what we believe, because of what our values are and what we stand for, it's very important.
Okay.
We think right now, particularly on the county commission,
right,
that they've made some really bad decisions on how they spend our money. They are buying broken buildings, leaving them vacant while we pay, taking them out of the tax rolls, and letting them deteriorate. And we're going to have to dress them up and try to sell them again to recover our money. They made several bad decisions, particularly with the sheriff's office, but there have been other things. They bought the Sears building for $1.2 or $4 million. It's going to cost thousands of dollars to get it up to sale, where they can sell it. So they're making bad decisions, and we think Democrats. And if you look at a record, in fact, if you look at our national record, Democrats have shown far more to govern than Republicans. Republicans have come out with this trope, Democrats are tax and spend, but if you look at the reality of how we govern, not only at the national level, but at the local level, we don't tax and spend. We are very careful managers of our citizens' resources, and that's why it's important for us to run and to win.
And I'm telling you, I have a lot of Republicans that are listening right now that want to choke you. I can tell it, I can feel it. I don't want to choke you or anything like that, but I don't want to get into a debate with you because I want your voice to be heard. We have a lot of people within the county that are leaning toward the Democratic Party for those very same reasons.
Right, and they should. There's other issues that we really need to talk about. I wish I had more time. But we have a very fragile environment here in Flagler County.
Okay.
Fragile. And I know we have to grow. And even Democrats like me, we want growth because a city or a county that doesn't grow starts to die. But we have to have growth that fits in with the environment. We have a fragile environment, particularly water. And we've got to take note of that. And I think the Democratic Party is the one who will take special care of our environment as we grow in the city of Palm Coast and the other components of Flagler County and throughout Flagler County.
Last year, John Tipton ran for city commission.
He did a wonderful candidate. He should have.
He was an independent.
He was.
And then y'all went and wooed him.
Right, we did. We did.
You wooed him.
Yes.
I know because, I heard he was wooed. And he ran as a Democrat.
He did.
And he lost.
He lost. He was a wonderful candidate. We took a lot of time to think about why he lost. And
he was close.
Close enough, but not close enough, obviously, for us. But we know that we really didn't do a good job of getting independent voters to come out and vote. Not enough of them. And John was the perfect candidate to attract both moderate Democrats and moderate or left-leaning independents.
And he was appealing to some of the Republicans, those that told me in private. They would never admit it.
I know that, and I got that from several Republicans myself. We just didn't have enough of a coalition to put it together. But, John, if you're listening and you choose to run this cycle, well, we have learned a lot of things, and we're ready to go again.
Let's talk about the sheltering tree and
Yes.
the homeless.
Yes.
I know that's something that's very near and dear to your heart. In fact, I saw there was a post on Facebook where Commissioner Joe Mullins made a comment. He was going to going to see Trump convention in Orlando, and you said, "Hey, I'm gonna be there on the opposing side, but when you get back, let's talk
Correct.
about the homeless. Forget politics. Let's talk about the homeless." Have you been able to work with him and work with other Republicans in the county for things that are best or good for all of us?
I will work with anybody as long as it's on local issues and we can do some good for our citizens. Now, particularly, I've been working with Joe Mullins, and of course, he's a Republican, but he laughs about that, and I laugh about it too. I don't care, and he doesn't care. When we're talking about the homeless or for housing, and we're talking about housing, you can put any label you want on it. You can call it affordable housing, you can call it workforce housing, but we're talking about housing that is achievable, that is available for people who can't pay $2,000 a month or $1,500 a month. And Joe wants to work toward that end, and for that reason, I'm linking arms with Joe, and I'll go wherever we need to go to get that kind of housing, because I know that kind of housing, affordable housing, is one of the keys to solving our homeless issue. Mm-hmm. The greatest thing, the most productive thing, the most cost-effective thing we can do for the homeless is to get them into homes, to get them into permanent place.
It costs less to house them than it is to take care of them on the street.
And that's why I want to work closely with Joe and with Dave Sullivan and anybody else on the commission to get housing available for people who need it. And I'm not talking about just homeless. I'm talking about our working families. If you're a first responder and you're just starting off life here in Flagler County, you're not getting paid enough to go out and buy a $250,000 home. You have got to have housing because you want to start a family, and you ought to be able to do that. If you have young people, and our young Democrats talk about it, it's a big issue with them. They need not only a good pay, but they have to live 2 and 3 and 4 at a time to be able to afford even the simplest of accommodations. We have got to have housing that is achievable by them. And one last thought is about our senior citizens.
Now that's a big issue.
We have too many senior citizens who, because of some life event, they could have lost a spouse, they could have had a major medical episode, they could have lost a pension, something could drive them to downsize from their houses, their homes, to more affordable accommodations. And so all of that is so important here in Flagler County, and we've got to get started on it, and I will link arms with any Republican, anybody, anywhere in order to achieve that, because we, on the Democratic side, we stand firmly for that. Now, you mentioned the sheltering tree.
Yes, the sheltering tree.
And that is an issue near and dear to my heart, because I know that the homeless have been demonized. People throw at me, they're druggies, they're thieves, they're predators, they're everything in the book. Mm-hmm. They are not. Yes, in any population of people, particularly a population of disadvantaged people, you're going to have some bad apples in there.
That's anywhere.
But you're also going to have people who sincerely need help and don't know how to get it, or it's not available to them, and we've got to fix that. We have got to find a way to take care of our people who are less fortunate. They are citizens, they are Americans, and we need to help them as a community, and I stand firmly with that.
Okay, well, we've got to take a break. Do not go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay.
Was that better?
It was all good. It wasn't anything wrong. I have a question. How much time I have left?
About 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes. Okay. I want to ask you, are you willing to reveal the names of anyone that may be running for office?
No. I can't do that.
Do we know what offices that the Democrats may be trying to occupy?
Yes.
You have someone for every seat?
We don't have someone for every seat, but I don't know that we will.
Okay.
You see?
Okay.
Because what our strategy at this point is to find the right candidates
Makes
for
sense.
the right positions. And I don't care if that's 1, 5, or 10, or 18.
As long as you get the right candidates.
But the key positions are always on the more, let's call them the more greater level, the county commission.
Okay.
There's a tax assessor. There's is open. We know, of course, the SOE is open, but that's I don't know if we'll have any with that. But I would say, if you're to ask me what our key targets for in the 2020 election would be county commission, right? The 24th district. By the way, I'm meeting after I leave here. I'm meeting with Paul Renner.
Okay.
But he's a target.
He's a target.
Yeah. We want to go back after that one.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have you go through that list again because we're gonna go back in. We got 5 minutes, and then I'll ask you the question as far as what seats are you going to be going after locally here in Flagler County. You ready? Oh, I need to give a shout out to my sponsors, which is the FloridaMortgageCenter.com and to Hope North, which meets at the African American Culture Society on Sunday mornings. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to the FloridaMortgageCenter.com. Thank you, Steve Verrier, for being a sponsor of Today with Pastor Jay, and also Hope North. They're meeting at the African American Culture Society on Sunday mornings. So, Mike, we have Mike Cocchiola here, who's the chairman of the Democratic Executive Committee.
Correct.
So, what seats are you targeting in the 2020 election?
Well, the real big targets in Flagler County would be the commission seats, and there are 3 of them that are going to be open. And that is the seats currently held by Chair Ellie Erickson, District 1, Don O'Brien, I believe he's District 5, and Dave Sullivan.
Okay.
Those seats are open, and yes, we want to go after those seats because they make major policy affecting all of our citizens. And also the state representative District 4 seat, now held by Representative Renner. And we certainly would love to capture that seat. But what we're going to do is we are out recruiting candidates. And by the way, a shout out, anybody out there who would love to run for one of these offices, contact me. I'll give you my phone number.
How about the sheriff? You got anybody that's maybe running for sheriff?
Well, we may be.
Okay.
At this point, it's too early. It's way too early to
holding your cards close to your chest.
We have to hold our cards closely because we need to do an evaluation of everything. We want to make sure that we have the right candidates. But if you're asking me if we do have candidates, yes, people have already come to me and spoke about the possibility. Always there. Remember, candidates never say, "I'm doing it right now." It's too early.
That's true.
They say, there's a possibility I might run. Well, okay, now they're on my radar. And we need more. We need more potential candidates who want to run for all of the offices.
Now, how about the presidential election? Do you have a favorite front runner or a favorite 3 or 4?
Nope. As a matter of fact, no. As chair
you are tight-lipped.
As chair of the DEC, I cannot ever name a favorite. I am chartered to wait by our operating charter. The DEC is to support all candidates equally until the end of the primaries when a candidate is chosen. Then I can go all out.
Then you can go all out.
Yes.
But right now you don't have anything
no,
to say.
I don't.
I do have to tell you that Commissioner Joe Mullins had a message for you because I told him I was interviewing you today. And he wanted me to let you know that before it's over with, he's going to have you in a Trump 2020 hat. You're going to be in a MAGA hat.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You gonna take that challenge?
Yeah, because I have a Democratic hat with our now famous, is if it's not improper, our kick butt donkey. Yes, which when one of our wonderful Democratic candidates take over the White House and puts this country back on track in the 21st century, looking toward the future, then I will give Joe kick butt hat.
You give him one of those hats.
I will certainly do that. But I want Joe to know, and I'll say this, as long as we have common interests, Joe, I'll work with you any day of the week. I like what he's doing.
Okay. All right. Lastly, back to the our current president right now. What are your major qualms, or is it the list
With the current president?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Of course, I have a number of qualms. His attitude toward immigrants, which is abhorrent to me, and insults to women. But I have to put my defense experience to work. I spent 20 years with the Department of Defense, 10 years of that as a senior executive. So I've worked through peacetime planning and I've worked through wartime planning. And I worry when we have a commander-in-chief who dismisses the intelligence, who wings it based on whatever he thinks his knowledge is of world affairs. And you get really worried because he commands so much force that any mistake anywhere, any word, a gesture, something could trigger a catastrophe. And I worry that, in my view, a man that is not unflappable, but unstable as our current president, I worry about his finger on the button.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming and sharing your views
Thank you.
on today, and you're welcome anytime. And when those candidates are named, have them give me a call. We'll get them on the show and see what their platform is. And
I want to thank you for having me here.
Always.
I know you're faith-based. This is a faith-based
Yes.
thing. And I want to tell everybody that one thing about the Democratic Party is we generously welcome all faiths, all cultures, and we honor all of them.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming, and please
Thank
come
you.
back anytime. Well,
Thank
you've
you,
heard
Pastor
it here, guys. Thank you for listening to Today with Pastor Jay. Remember, yesterday is gone, and tomorrow isn't promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to sit down and look at all the candidates and choose the best one that's going to do the best job. Have a great day. God bless you.
Well, thank you so much.
No
Pastor
problem.
Jay.
Thank you guys
I
for
enjoyed
watching.
myself. I hope when